What do you think about your president?
How can you be the top manager of the huge country without that particular instrument? It just makes no sense.
I was curious about what's the biggest thing, what's the one thing about your country that you think the world gets wrong? One misunderstanding you really
What's wrong? I think about people, for about ordinary people, nothing wrong to us, right? In Russia, in Ukraine, in Belarus, Poland, and other countries, all of them, nothing wrong in between with us, but it is just political stuff, I think.
I think that most of the countries, for example, United States or some European countries, think that Russia is aggressor. It's huge aggressor that we want to invade the whole world. But it's a mistake, actually. Yeah, it's also.
What do you think about your president? Yes, it's interesting question because all of us. People think, for example, I saw some very journalist, is some dude, as I know. Yeah. He just, I think I have feeling he hate president of Russia, but he has a little big effect to people who watch him, and I think he influencer. I think he affect a lot of, and I just want to know, what do you think about Russian president?
It's
one thing that I can say that it was a good question about what do you think.
Yeah.
One thing. Okay. Yes, but I have to be kind of very careful here. You have to divide Russian people and Russian government. And if you will take a look from this point of view, from this angle on this particular problem, for example, problem between Russian people and Ukrainian people, there is no problem at all.
Yeah.
There is problem of, let's say, ego of some politics, of course, from the both sides. But you have to divide people and their government. And if you will think about it, most of our ruling elites, they're from little bit different background. They have different understanding about how things work in this world, in contemporary situation. And this is the main problem, because, for example, let's take a look at our president, Vladimir Putin. He is not even presented in social media. And how is it possible in 21st century? I don't know, maybe Trump is not the best example, but you can think about him, yeah? This guy can change people's mind like that with only one tweet, yeah? So social media is such a powerful instrument. So how can you be the top manager of the huge country without that particular instrument? It just makes no sense. Okay. Yeah, and another thing that I can say, there are some stereotypes about Russians, yeah, and most of them, unfortunately, they are not true. People think that, oh, if you're Russian, you have to drink vodka, but no, Russian youth, they are not drinking alcohol. Some of Russian youth, some prefer maybe wine, some prefer, I don't know, craft beer, but not strong alcohol, because...
Or you live with bears together.
Yes, bears. Most of these stereotypes, of course, obviously, they came from the past, they came from the period of Cold War, from this media representation of that period. But come on, all of us should think about contemporary times, and it's painful. Very painful question for me, because if you're Russian, you should be a bad person. But no, it's not true. Most of Russians.
Yeah, good.
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
But what in Russian people think about Ukrainians the same? For example, how some people in Ukraine, they can think, Russian is an aggressor, Russia is aggressor, Russia takes Crimea, but they have some bad feeling, bad opinion about Russian, right? Bad meanings. But what about, it's part of Ukrainian? What about a Russian person?
I can say, like, again, like very carefully, but the main idea here that most of Russians, they are way more concerned about our inner politics, but not about, like, for us, for ordinary people, it makes no sense to have like these companies, not only in Ukraine, but also, for example, in Syria or somewhere else. Like, why do we have to spend huge amount of taxes on these useless things? We have like huge problems with, let's say, coronavirus, poor medical system, poor educational system. Like, all that stuff is related to our inner policy. So why won't we just concentrate on that, on solving that problems? Like, let's say, like, even pensions, we have, like, as you know, like, I think the situation is very similar with China. Like, population is aging, like, population is getting older and older and older. So we should invest a lot in medical system, in pensions. But instead of that, we are wasting our taxes on showing off in Syria. Like, why? Why?
If I'll answer to your question, actually, as ordinary people of Russia, we don't have any hate to Ukrainians, and we still think that we are all the same, even after conflict of 2014.
Tell about Far East, Russian Far East. Like, most of
as I told you before, the Russian Far East has a huge connections with Ukraine because after colonization starts.
Most of settlers in Russian Far East came from Ukraine. The funny thing that even toponyms, like names of the cities, like small cities, we have like Chernigovka, like in Ukraine, and like family names like Kovalchuk, Pinchuk, Timoshenko, Gorbatenko, my classmates, Ukrainian family names. Like,
because before we were this one country, and a strong connection.
So we don't have any reasons to hate each other. This all we need to like separate political matters and like ordinary matters. So that's difficult, and I can say that there could be hate in the comments on YouTube and all the stuff because comments are always like very aggressive. But in ordinary life with our friends
But I think it's not about ordinary life. I think like if you will take a look at well-educated youth with, let's say, developed critical thinking, you won't find any problems among us. But people who are not familiar with history and who watch television and who believe propaganda,
I think it's not problem of the history of the education. It's probably a problem with how to media affect the people, how to government control the media for affect the people, and also, but this very sensitive problem.
But again, of course, but I mean, like, it's only your choice whether to watch TV or whether not to.
Older generation is watching it, but younger generation.
Only like very old
people. They pay attention for the work, they pay attention for the earn money, they pay attention for the family, they didn't pay attention for the political stuff because, how we say before, we cannot affect that, and we also cannot change that.
Yeah, and also there is this like informational war between Ukraine and Russia, and still continues already for like 6 years. And because of this, there is like lots of misinformation in Russian media, and also in Ukrainian as well. Yeah, and some information it's provided like in a wrong manner. So of course we need to understand that if you watch movie or if you watch news, we have to like take a look at different medias. We have to find different opinions in order to like construct like a normal picture and real picture of what is going on.
But problem is if you watch different media, different opinion, that in total say the same, but they say the same, it's not true. It's totally not true. For example, if I see some Russian news, Ukrainian news, and news from USA, they're in total, there are just some meaning, like the situation can worse and worse and worsely. But if you ask people who live in this situation, it was this country, and you can understand nothing changed. People have lived before, continue to live just right now. Nothing changed.
What kind of role do you think the Western governments and the Western media is playing in this tension between the two countries? Because if we read only Western media, and Russian-Ukrainian is taking every headline of The Economist, of New York Times, and what you just said is very, very new to us, that people want nothing but the peace. So,
the role of Western media is absolutely, how to say, it's significantly important because, but again, there is a reason for that. It's very easy to understand. Like, if you're an American citizen and if your president is Biden, like, of course, you are trying to show that situation. Like, there is a war, there is like that tension between these two countries, and you, like, on a white horse, like, okay, guys, I can help you, and then you are like a winner from this situation. Obviously, it's very easy to show this situation from their point of view, like, but is it close to reality? This is the main question, whether it is close to reality or whether it is not. It's a very difficult question, and of course, I don't know what Putin thinks, what Zelensky thinks, what Biden thinks. No one knows. But from media, from social media point of view, it's all about manipulations, and it's all about showing off. And of course, there is like even economical reason for that. Like, if you don't mind, you can tell us a little bit about stock market, about Russian stock market. Like, the situation is absolutely crazy.
What with stock markets?
I mean, all this situation, this informational war influences our Russian economics so much.
We've lost
the situation
huge amount
with
of money.
stock market is really like, it's bad because all this news, they create volatility and huge instability in Russian stock markets. So
and first of all, huge decline, more
people
than 20%.
just lose money, and when the news started to appear about like possible invasion of Ukraine in November, just Russian stock market last year, Russian stock market just fall by 20%. And so many foreign investors, they're trying to withdraw their capital from Russia, from Russian market, especially from like Russian state-owned bank, Sberbank. I guess you know this bank. So yeah, people just withdraw money from banks. It creates volatility, huge volatility. So like Russian citizens who invest in the stock market, they're trying to sell their stocks as well.
But it's not about like volatility. Like, thanks to Bloomberg, to, I don't know, Deutsche Welle, to Western media, Russian stock market has lost more than 20% less than in 1 month, I think. Like, starting from January, like, it was a sharp decline. And like, I mean, ordinary people, what we are trying to do? We are trying to survive, to invest in something like that, yes. And now we are just losing our money because of these guys. They're like talking about nothing that's related to reality, and you're like, what is happening? Like, why my bank account is like getting smaller and smaller? Yes.
Yeah.
It's another painful question.
It is what it is, yeah. Western news, they're doing their job. They're trying to create some like news about Russian invasion in Ukraine. I even read the news, then Bloomberg even published the news around 2 weeks ago that Russia already invaded Ukraine.
Yes.
They published it by mistake. It's just...
And by the way, exactly in this particular moment, that Sber, like that bank that Alina just mentioned, is like,
it falls
because
down.
It's the same time,
49% of investors are foreigners, and like most of them are Americans, and they're like, what? War has started? Okay, it's time to withdraw our money, and like we are going down, like.
Yeah, and then Bloomberg just said that it was
sorry guys,
mistake.
it was a mistake, like.
Look, this mistake, mistake was not its mistake, right?
They just prepared this news in advance to publish if there will be invasion, but that's crazy. But that's how media work, maybe.
Media works.
Yeah.